Today's reading is Redcap, an entry from the Monsko Encyclopedia book series. A race of goblins with a childlike form distinguished by the red cap they wear that appears blood-stained as the name suggests. They continually accumulate an extreme lust that boils up ad infinitum, and they're constantly driven by the urge to violate men. They always glare at men and grin with their desires and urges laid bare. They are extremely ferocious monsters who assault men, and they lurk in places such as ruins and relentlessly stalk the human men who will end up as their prey, employing tactics such as lying in wait to ambush a man and attack precisely the moment when their target is alone and defenseless. Contrary to their childlike appearance, they display terrifying aggressiveness when assaulting a man, mercilessly slashing at him with the weapon in their hands. Their weapon, made from demon realm metal, injures the foe's mana rather than his body, and instead of hurting, the wounds grow hot and throb. There's no external wounds, nor is it life-threatening in any way, but if seriously wounded, the body will be immobilized for a while. They prefer to one-sidedly rape a man after slashing him up and depriving his body of freedom. The manner in which they have sex is incongruous with their prepared body. They straddle a man as if mounting a horse, taking his penis deep inside, and then they drop their hips again and again as if crashing into him, inducing pleasure in a man that's even violent. The gasp and moans escaping a man's lips will greatly satisfy their urges and elevate them to an even stronger excitement. Even if a man releases semen, their urges won't subside, and despite him being in the middle of ejaculation, they further strengthen their hip movements and with a single-minded focus on continuously attacking a man, indulging in pleasure and mana. Men who fall into their clutches will be brutally milked of mana in that manner and end up having sex with them until they pass out. Their mana becomes more thick and gooey and red in proportion to their desires and urges, and it's their liquefied mana which also drips from their weapons. Actually, their caps are white to begin with and become stained red when this mana soaks into it. In other words, the more their desires and urges build up and from being unable to vent by having sex with a man, the deeper the red their cap will be, and the more their ferocity will increase in proportion to it. Due to that, the only individuals who appear in front of men, who will be their prey, are those with caps stained red, since they don't have a specific husband. On the other hand, the red-stained caps of individuals who, by obtaining a husband, having sex repeatedly, and having mana continuously poured inside of them, have had their desires and urges satisfied and will regain their original whiteness. When their caps are in this white state, as a lingering effect of having been filled with a man's mana, they will appear to be intoxicated, and most will seem merrily spaced out. There is no apparent ferocity or aggression as in their red state, and the expression in their eyes as they look at their husband also becomes a soft one filled with love. For example, even with their husband right next to him, they would only smile at him like a little girl in a manner suitable for their appearance and snuggle up to him, and they would never do anything like rape him. However, having obtained a specific husband, their desires and urges will grow even bigger and stronger, and they'll become unable to endure it. Their urges will soon swell up and dominate them unless they are constantly immersed in ecstasy, basking in the afterglow of sex with their husband by having mana relentlessly poured inside of them. If one were to skip even just a little bit of sex because they aren't attacking, their caps would suddenly be stained red and their husband would end up being thoroughly ravished like when they first met.